All right, cool.
All right, so everyone, thank you again for joining us. We're here with one of our favorites, Podiatry Content Connection. They are going to tell us how to join the 1% Club. And Randy and Elaine are going to be here to answer your questions at the end, so type them into the Q&A. In the meantime, I'm going to mute myself and turn off my camera, and Randy, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Ann and Sarah. Always a pleasure. And it was great seeing you guys, by the way, at the SAM conference in Orlando. And it was, I got to tell you, my 10 years of doing this, it was the first time ever that somebody on stage at a podiatry conference, a large one, wished me a happy birthday in front of the whole gang. That was pretty cool. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Good.
I'll remember that one. So we're going to talk about, how to become a high performance podiatrist and join what I call the 1% Club. Okay. And, I was thinking about it, like who deserves to be part of this so-called 1% Club? Is it the most experienced podiatrist that has most knowledge, has been out there longest, or is it the podiatrist maybe knows how to market better? Some of the older, more experienced podiatrists might refer to a younger podiatrist, maybe he or she came out of residency, third-year residency, and unlike most others that took a job, they decide to actually go into their own practice. And, but they, unlike us, or unlike me, us baby boomers that grew up with, telex machines and fax machines and phone cords, they've grown up with the internet and social media and so forth, and video, and so they've come into the world with a different mindset, different set of goggles. And I can tell you that I've met so many podiatrists that it's really not fair, actually, because some of the older, more experienced podiatrists that, and they have a decent practice, by the way. I'm not saying that they're in bad shape, but they're not in great shape, and it's a shame sometimes. But they are not part of this 1% Club. And marketing is really a key thing. So we're going to talk about that. For those that don't know you, I'm the National Director of Podiatry Content Connection. And if you don't know us, we weren't always, but we've really been grown into the role of the #1 comprehensive digital online marketing agency that only works with podiatrists. And we eat and breathe podiatry. So heading out to the Midwest Conference tomorrow, this is like our 4th conference of the year already, or 5th. I was actually just in the Dominican Republic for a conference there. It was interesting. Anyway, our main function is really helping the private practice, anywhere between 1 and 3 doctors on average, to do more. We work at super groups as well, but typically our bread and butter is 1 to 3 or 4, sometimes 5 doctors with 1, maybe 2 locations. That's our average. We do a lot, have been for about a decade now, to give back to podiatry every single month through COVID and everything. We've given about $250,000 to the colleges to support podiatry, and we actually work with the colleges. Barry University and Kent State both use our services to promote their podiatry clinics. And I know this slide's a little bit old, but I'm keeping it up here anyway, because in my mind, it's, my birthday was in February and we're now in March. And in my mind, it's still a new year. And I'm going to the gym and the gym's still crowded. So it tells me that the new year is still young. But typically, when you have a new year, you got new goals, you have resolutions. And I'm thinking, some things that I hear from our account managers when they're speaking with our customers, and some of their goals for the new year are, of course, new patients. For some practices, it's a particular type of patient. They call them ideal patients. Some want to, they've got a black eye. They got a really bad reputation online, and they're wondering why their business has gone backwards. Some are just not visible on Google. And if you're a podiatrist and you're not visible where people are looking, like Google, that's an issue. And then others just want to make it, maybe it's a very small practice. They want to make it easier for patients and the staff to do business with the practice. Others want to grow and expand. Some want to, we're talking about this recently, monetizing shockwave and laser and Swift devices, etc. So, and then of course, we want to make more money. We want to be a better, like a well-oiled machine. I always ask, well, how's that going to happen? This is, I call it the salesman's drug, hopium. You cannot hope, I'm just being cute here, but you can't hope new patients in the door. And I love Clint Eastwood. So, you got to ask yourself a question. Do you feel lucky? Well, you can't use hope or luck to drive new patients in the door. And it's true. And then if we're at the beginning of a new year and you're kind of doing the same things that you did last year, this year, you should not be expecting different results. So if you wanted to do more, you got to do something different. and it doesn't matter whether you're a plumber or a podiatrist, marketing is the lifeblood of any business. And Ann and Sarah could write books on the subject, but they know this and they work with, people on this. And, it's really, really important. I think sometimes podiatrists are they go into the clinical mode, but they forget that they're actually, if you're in a private practice, it's a business, and you got to market your business. So this is something that I want to share with you guys, that maybe some people have seen this before, but if you haven't, I think it's really, really interesting and important. So, in things in life, there's things that you know. So, for example, safe to assume that if you're a podiatrist, you know how to treat foot and ankle conditions. But, do you know how to do like open heart surgery? I would assume not, and I wouldn't want to go to a podiatrist for open heart surgery, but there's things that you know, like podiatry, and there's things that you don't know, like open heart surgery. But there's also a bunch of things. The big part of the pie chart here is that things that you don't know, you don't know. So if you ponder that thought for a moment, it's kind of powerful when you really think about it. And that's kind of the sandbox that I play in, meaning that we help podiatrists kind of get out of their own way and open their mind up to what's possible beyond what they even know. Because there's, and it's I had a meeting with a podiatrist this morning. He's been doing things a certain way with no website, nothing, for years and years. But I said, I'm just curious, what inspired you to show up? He says, I'm open to learning. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Some people are not, I will tell you, just being candid, when we're exhibiting as an exhibitor at a podiatry conference, so we're going to the Midwest conference tomorrow. I'm speaking there twice, but I'm also exhibiting there, It's a bummer for us when a podiatrist walks by. They don't even want to make eye contact with you. And why? Because I get it, by the way. If there's 150 exhibitors, you can't go over and talk to every single salesperson that wants to speak with you. But then again, I think it's great because when I go to a trade show, I want to learn stuff. I want to learn something new. So, you can't know about things that you've yet to discover. So trade shows and conferences and exhibits are a great way to learn new things that maybe you didn't know that could help you in your practice. So with regards to online marketing, there's some that are out there that know and benefit from this stuff that might prefer that you not know this. They'd rather keep it like their secret, and, so I'm here to share some of this stuff with you and kind of open your mind to what's possible. Now, a lot of podiatrists are so darn busy that, as I call it, the house is on fire and they don't even realize it, meaning that, they got really poor visibility on Google. They've got a bunch of bad reviews and or very few reviews. So maybe on Google, they've got like 9 reviews at 3.2 stars out of 5. That's not pretty. That's enough to make most people go somewhere else. They have an old website or outdated content or just a mishmash of information. Directories are outdated, etc. So this is what I call the house is on fire. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they're busy, so they say, but they're, the practice is not that profitable. They're not seeing the types of patients they like to. There's a lot of room for improvement, but, they never stop to what I call kind of sharpen their saw or their axe. And so, you need a plan to do this stuff. I think that a lot of times people spend more time at the diner thinking about, should I get the full dinner or the a la carte? It's like, think this through. This is your business. You should have a plan. And, there's what I call a view of possibilities, what's possible for you in your practice, right now, beyond where you are right now. And again, you gotta, I don't want to get too philosophical here, but this is, powerful stuff. And this is where a lot of the gurus out there that charge crazy amounts of money, to talk about this stuff, and it's right there in front of you, but you got to spend the time. But this is my really important, question that I ask podiatrists, and there's no right or wrong, but the bottom line is that, do you have the desire and the capacity for more new patients? Now, if you're a solo practice, there's only so many patients you can see in a day. If you have more than one doctor or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, etc., you can see more, you could scale. But, again, I had a meeting this morning with a podiatrist, been practicing for 25 years. He's solo, and his capacity is at like 65%. Not so great. He's got room to see more. So if you do have the desire and the capacity for more new patients, that's a good thing. So stay tuned. And if that is the case, it's good to be proactive better than reactive. And again, back at the conferences, it happens almost every time. A couple of things happen to me every time. I get my customers coming up to me and actually thanking me, which is a wonderful feeling, by the way, because our customers love us with good reason, because we do a great job for them and help them grow their business. But I also get a bunch of podiatrists that are prospective customers, and they say, no, you know what, I'm good, Randy, I've got a website. So just because you have a website doesn't mean that you're marketing your practice. And I think so many people are under the impression that if they have, that is marketing their practice. They have a website, and they're just simply wrong. That's not marketing your practice. As a matter of fact, you go to the most gorgeous website in North America. The question is, how do you get the eyeballs to that website when people are searching for heel pain in Edison, New Jersey, or whatever it is? So again, if and there's a lot of podiatrists out there that have a decent website, and there's companies out there, by the way, and I won't name them by name, but one in particular that will create a really nice looking website for you, and it's dirt cheap, and they put a spin on it, like they're going to do all kinds of things. But at the bottom line is that they're just hosting a pretty website. And I guess it's better than hosting an ugly website. But the thing is that, it's just like, if you have a website alone, it's like your own little island here. So it's a big difference between a website and a web presence. It's kind of like, saying that you want to go fishing. I want to catch fish, but you know what? I got no bait. I got no net. You need a pole, bait, net, those things to catch fish. So if you got the desire and the capacity for more new patients, but you don't have a web presence, it's kind of like that guy going fishing with no pole or, no bait. You're going to, basically, in my mind, you're leaving money on the table. And I hope a lot of you that are listening to this recognize that. So again, big difference between these two, between a website, which is one-dimensional, sits there, it's hosted, it never changes, and a web presence that got a bunch of things where basically the website is at the hub, I'll call it, of a web presence, something that changes. In order to convert a searcher to a new patient, you need to continually build out the practice's visibility and relevance at each point. So whether it's content and SEO and, et cetera, there's a lot of moving parts to it, easier said than done. And nowadays, and I think you probably know this, especially since COVID, but, patients see you before you see them. It is what it is. So you want to be visible online. You want to be visible, of course, on Google, and you want to have a lot of good reviews. Bad reviews are a patient killer. Just like people run for the hills. So you want to have the best of both worlds. But, a lot of podiatrists that I meet with are, again, I call them the baby boomers. They're in their early to mid 60s, and they're saying, you know what, man, I wish I'd met you, like 10 years ago, because I only got like another 5 or 6 years left of me, and then I'm going to retire. So I would say, well, would you like to finish strong, and would you maybe want to be in a position to sell your practice down the road? That would be good. So of course they would. They like to finish strong. They like to make more money, but it's all a question about how do they see this. Now, some see this as an expense, and some see it as an investment. So I'm here to tell you that done properly, online marketing is absolutely an investment. Our customers are seeing significant returns on investment because we know what we're doing. We're a podiatry-only company. We're doing this for a decade, and they're seeing the value of it. But a lot of people, again, it's about the things that you don't know that you don't know. And so some people say, well, if I only have another 5 or 6 years left of me, why do I want to go through this whole thing of all this web stuff, and, you think about it, what is the value of one new patient to your practice? That's a factor. When you think about, initial visit and follow-ups and maybe orthotics, et cetera, repeat visits. I usually mention this in a lot of my workshops and seminars and so forth, but like if they ask the same question, I'm telling you to probably about 4,000 podiatrists face-to-face in my 10 years of doing hundreds of conferences. And it's really pretty interesting that the average answer is about $1,000, and so even though I'm pretty bad at math, I'll put this together. So if you attempted to get $1 million of new revenue into a practice, let's say a small practice over 12 months, if on average one new patient is worth $1,000, well, then you divide 1 million. $1 million divided by 1,000 gives you 1,000. So it breaks down like you need over 12 months, you'll need about 83 patients a month. It's about 20 new patients a week. about 4 new patients a day, which actually doesn't sound like that much when you break it down. And then, but you need a marketing system that can consistently attract only 4 new patients a day could equal an additional $1 million in revenue to your practice over a year. And of course, that's just over the first 12 months. When you bring on a new patient, obviously, there's a lifetime value associated with the patient. So again, online marketing really is a powerful tool for helping podiatrists attract new patients in the door. So, and this, I assume I'm preaching to the choir. This is common sense, and we live in a search society. But when people are referred to you in your practice, you can rest assured that the majority of the time, almost 100% of the time, they're going to check you out online. They're going to search you up. And, website visitors these days, they're not dummies. They know what they're looking for, thanks to Amazon and other companies, So, and then, the fact that Google receives so many searches a day, and because of the baby boomers and others, healthcare is one of the top, I think it's number 3 in searches. It's huge. And so when you think about all this, the website should be considered like as a tool, not just a thing. And again, patients see you before you see them. So the website should be a bunch of things, but of course it should be responsive, it should be fast, it should be secure, it should be able to accommodate, people that are visually impaired. And, keep in mind that first impressions these days are not necessarily made at the front desk anymore, especially since COVID. And nowadays, really first impressions are made online. And so you want to make a good first impression. And, I always like showing the slide, but I got one of my favorite movies, Jerry Maguire, where, you had me at low. A lot of podiatrists that have been around for, 30 years, somehow, some way, they have decent visibility on Google. But when you click on them, you didn't have them at hello. You lost them at hello. They're gone. So, nowadays, looks count, first impressions count, not just in person, but also online. And so, remember that, especially the younger generation, by the way, they have the attention span of a fly. And statistically, you got about 2 to 10 seconds to engage them and draw them in. So keep that in mind. And then when you get them there, they got to be easy navigation, friendly and easy to navigate design, so they don't have to look too far, too long to find what they're looking for. And then there's things like content. Of course, our company name is Podiatry Content Connection. So we're huge advocates of utilizing content in an intelligent, strategic way to help you get more visibility online without having to do things like Google Ads. Not to take away from Google Ads, because it's the most powerful marketing vehicle on the planet. But, content marketing is a very powerful thing because Google loves content. So in our world, we're doing blogs and articles for our customers on a weekly basis in a way that gives them great visibility and credibility as well. So, how do blogs and articles help you attract more new patients? Some of the ways, and there's a bunch of algorithms, but Google factors in a bunch of different things like fresh content, frequent updates, keywords or key phrases that are embedded into blogs and articles. Fresh content increases your, what I call, authority potential, and it keeps your audience updated. And it's just impressive when I go to your website and they see, they're like, wow, these guys have blogs and articles every single week, unlike other podiatrists go to their website and they have blogs, but they're from the year 2018. So, you get an A forever, but it's good to be consistent. And so when you leverage the power of blogs and content through your website, Google and Twitter and other places, it really makes a difference in your visibility and your credibility online. So good, consistent content is really vital to being seen and staying on page 1 of Google. But a lot of podiatrists and practices, they just don't have blogs. And this is why. Take a sip of my tea. They lack the time. Podiatrists have the clinical knowledge to do this stuff, but many times they just don't have the time, and they don't understand really how all this stuff works and how it really benefits the practice at the end of the day, or the end of the month, I should say, in the way of new patients. So Bill Gates used to say that, content is king, but especially on the web. And again, in our world, it's kind of like our secret sauce. We're not going to give away our formulas that are proprietary, but we've got this down to a science where our customers are dominating online. Our customers are literally making more money than other podiatrists in the United States. We've confirmed this with Chase Bank. They have a way of doing this, actually. So kind of proud of that. We just learned that back in December. But content, again, it's easier said than done. It's got to be a lot of things and done in a certain way that's going to be useful, fresh, engaging, timely, educational, all that stuff. And, the way we do it, where blogs point to articles on a similar subject. We added something a couple of years back that's a continuation of the content marketing, but it's called spot campaigns, where your social media followers see like little photo ads on your timeline that target specific issues that they're having, and it goes directly back to your website with an appointment request. So we get, not we, but our customers are seeing somewhere between 40 and sometimes as much as 70 requests per month just from these spot campaigns for like custom orthotics, diabetic foot screening, gout, and all that good stuff. So it's pretty cool that the way we've mixed in blogs and articles together along with these spot campaigns has been a great combination, along with like videos and so forth. Here he is, the king, Jeffrey Learman. He's all over the place. I'm sure I'm going to see him this weekend. And he let me borrow a couple of his slides. This is one of them. And but he says that 85% of potential patients will make a judgment about you and your practice based on what they read about you online in the course of a minute or two. And I happen to agree with him, so I put it up there. Thank you, Jeffrey. And but it's really important about what other people think about you. So again, just like you need a strategic plan to maybe get more visibility, drawing more new patients in the door, you need a plan to enhance and be proactive about reputation management. This is a sad fact, but like 94% of patients will avoid podiatry practices with negative reviews. I mean, if you guys go out to a new restaurant and you're checking it out and they got 3 stars out of 5, are you going to that restaurant? I mean, maybe you will, but I think most people would not. So same thing here. So you got to love this cute kid with the bow tie, but you want to have positive reviews. I mean, being around 4 or 4+ stars is a beautiful thing. And some people were actually think that if somebody has, 800 reviews at 5 stars, it's like, really? Is that who's writing those reviews? You want to have legitimate reviews. And so, and by the way, if you want to learn more about this, we have a special page, a website for that, betterpodiatryreviews.com. You can learn a lot more about that. You can, really enhance your reputation online. So it's betterpodiatryreviews.com. And then I just want to talk a little bit more about, and this is not for everyone. This is kind of like the deeper end of the pool, so to speak. But a lot of podiatrists that we meet at conferences that maybe sign on for our service, and then we see them at the same conference a year later, like, holy moly, this stuff actually works. What's next? What do we do? Well, what's next is like utilizing the web as a vehicle to laser target, pardon the pun, to attract your ideal patient. And so Google Ads is, there's nothing like it. If your practice is located in Edison, New Jersey, Google kind of puts you in a box, and they kind of dictate what's called your geo-targeted area, otherwise known as your hometown. And let's just say if you're in, let's say, East Brunswick, New Jersey, maybe it's a more affluent area or younger people there, you want to target outside of your hometown. Google Ads enables you to target outside of your geo-targeted area or your hometown to go into those areas. It also does an amazing vehicle for monetizing cash-based services, whether it's laser or shockwave. But Google Ads are, we never had anything like this. They've been around for a while, but 40 years ago, they didn't exist. You had to put an ad out there and hope that somebody sees it. Google Ads are the opposite. It's basically that your practice, when somebody types in heel pain treatment in East Brunswick, bam, you're guaranteed to pop up because you're paying per click. And, done right, this is really, really powerful. Unfortunately, a lot of podiatrists, because podiatrists are intelligent people, because anybody that can become a podiatrist has to go through a lot of schooling. So you're intelligent, but Google Ads is a little bit of rocket science going on here, and it changes on a regular basis. So our team is trained by Google, certified by Google, and keeps up with this stuff. We're really good at this, but, it's something to be said about showing up at the exact moment when somebody's looking for something, and that's Google Ads. coupled by the fact that, Google is receiving 63,000 searches per second. And again, healthcare providers are number 3 on the list. So it's major, So anyway, I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you as far as digital marketing and optimization and Google and reputation management and all this stuff. But it's all important. And the bottom line is that if you've got the desire and the capacity for more new patients, it's important. So a lot of people say, oh, what does this mean? I don't know. I can't deal with this. I don't know who to talk to about this. This probably cost a small fortune, and I'm going to be, I'm only going another 5 or 6 years. So maybe I should just say what I'm doing. But again, remember the definition of insanity. If you do the same thing over and over again, expect different results, that's it, So this is the second slide from Jeffrey Learman, which I also like. He put this together, adapt or die. The longer you wait, the more you lose. If you think you can't afford it, many who know and use the web will tell you that you can't afford not to use the web because it benefits you, your practice, your patients, and your staff. Amen. So I think it's a great slide and yeah. So the bottom line is that we live in the digital age. The battle for new patients takes place online. It's not taking place in print media. It's not taking place in the yellow pages. It's being where the eyeballs are at, and that's online. So you want to win what I call the digital battle. So to do that, you want to be what I call our online superhero. And, that should include all the above, a great looking website that's easy to navigate, that's easy on the eye, quick to find what you're looking for, fresh content on a regular basis, directories that are updated with all your information, a reputation management system that's in place, that's proactive, that's working for you at the office and automatically behind the scenes with a system. And for those that are, again, the deeper end of the pool, as far as targeted ad campaigns is really next level stuff. But those are the folks that are seeing 10 times return on investment on their marketing dollars. So again, I'm throwing you a lot of stuff here, but don't feel like you got to try this stuff at home. Don't do that, actually, because we've seen too many podiatrists that I've met that actually have just gotten blown away by this. So they tried it at home anyway. But companies like us, we're a podiatry only company, and we do all this stuff for you. So, whether you're any kind of business owner, but entrepreneurs, successful ones, stick to what they call their unique abilities. So if you're a podiatrist, I assume that your unique abilities are treating patients' foot and ankle conditions, not doing this stuff that I just talked about. So learn to delegate, because so many podiatrists, again, I've met them at the conferences, they've tried this stuff on their own. They say, I tried Google Ads, doesn't work. It's like, if you don't know what you're doing, of course it's not going to work. Other podiatrists have sat by the sidelines and they're watching one of their competitors or a couple of their competitors leverage the power of the web, but they just never did it. They're a spectator, and others are curious. They just haven't taken the plunge. And meanwhile, they blink their eyes and another half decade goes by, and they still haven't done it. So it's like at some point you got to do something, change, do something different. But hopefully if you're on here that I've, maybe pique your interest and hopefully open your mind to maybe a marketing channel that maybe those things that you don't know that could actually benefit your practice, and try something different in the new year. And if any of that makes sense, by the way, I encourage you to take advantage of what I call web strategy session. And this is where me and my team get a lot of recognition from podiatrists. They're thanking us at the end of this because, oftentimes a web strategy session really, like I said before, it opens your mind to what's possible for the practice above and beyond what you might even realize right now. And, some of those become, have become customers of ours and members of what I call the Happy Club. But, we're just helping podiatrists take their practice to a new level, and everybody's at a different level, but, it's all good. And those that are doing well online, those are the ones that they want to do more. They want more, and these are just a couple members of what I call the Happy Club, been with us for years. And so, these are podiatrists in different parts of the country, but there's no shortage of them. And again, I always meet them at the conferences when I'm speaking or exhibiting. And it's great to see our customers, telling us that the work that we're doing is helping their practice and enhancing their livelihood. So if you're interested in taking advantage of a web strategy session, and we wouldn't be able to do it for at least a week because we're going to be at the Midwest Podiatry Conference, not returning until next Monday. But I said I'm going to put $1,000 offer out there. So this is it. Okay. Well, for the first 10 people that text us at the number here, 917-572-5088, for a web strategy session. After the session, we're going to send you a $100 Visa card. Isn't that nice? So you can send it wherever. I used to do the Amazon gift cards all the time. I realized that, Visa cards even better because you can spend it at the gas station or at dinner or whatever. You don't have to spend it on Amazon. But anyway, so again, $1,000 in gift cards for the first 10 people that request that, and then we set that up. After that, you got the $100 Visa card, which is always nice. But again, more importantly is that you get an expert diagnosis about, your practice. I have my staff that runs some pretty cool reports to kind of show you, where you're at compared to your competitors. So I identify barriers, gain some clarity about you versus your competitors, like I said, and discover improvements and opportunities that you may or may not know are available to you. So all that gets done in a web strategy session, and it's a good thing. And usually people are thanking me. They're like, wow, this is really great. I had no idea. And, it really opened their mind to a lot of things. So again, if you're interested in this, just text to that number, web strategy session, to the number there, and we'll get you scheduled for some time in the next week or two. So with that, I just want to thank you guys coming out. I know that it's a weeknight and it's after 8. So I always appreciate when people show up and attend our program. So thank you, Anna and Sarah, and thank you for everybody else that attended. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions if you guys have any.
Yeah, so we do have a couple questions in there, and I'm going to get to those in just a second. Sarah and I will. But just a quick note, Randy and I chatted last week about this webinar, and he floated this idea of, what it takes to become the best of the best, or the top performing podiatrist, the 1% club. And we talked about how almost everyone has the potential. It's just that we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day and our to-do list. And I am speaking for myself here when I say I have a list of shiny objects that I know one day are going to make me a multi-billionaire, but I just can't get to them because I'm so busy doing other things. And so, they say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And so let this be your single step. All you have to do is take 30 seconds to send a text message, 15 minutes to listen to what Randy's got to say. And then you never know. You never know where it could go from there. Could be the greatest thing you've ever done. Could make you a multi-billionaire. So,
right.
Well, and that's the thing too, like in terms of taking that initial step, the good thing is you take the step, you make the phone call, and then for the most part, you get to wipe your hands clean of it. and that's the way it should be, because like Ian said, we get inundated with the day-to-day, and you should be. You should be immersed in your practice and with your patients. And being immersed in the marketing side of it would be great if we could double the day, right? And if you had time to go back and learn all the things that Randy and his team learn and are certified and become experts. But we have to sleep and eat and spend time with our friends and families too, right? So, sorry guys, webinar, no, my bad. But it's just too much for anyone to take on and do it right. And so I'm just preaching, and I'm not good at it myself, which is why I know how hard it is to delegate. But the good thing is Randy and his crew have been doing this a long time, and they're specialized. That a lot of the reasons we don't delegate is because of trust issues. You can trust this team. They know what they're doing. They know your industry better than your local marketing firms. And so that's just my quick wipe your hands clean of it soapbox explanation.
Yes. All right. So Randy, one of the questions that came in was, I have a 5-star rating, but a patient I discharged from my practice because I caught her stealing put a 1-star review on Google Business. Can I reply to this dishonest review?
Sure. You definitely could. You probably should, and you could reply. Reviews are a bit bizarre. It's like, it's not fair. I call it, pardon my pun, but the knucklehead factor. There's a bunch of knuckleheads out there that do crazy things, and they're the ones that go out there and make these crazy, reviews. And often it's emotional, where somebody comes in and you don't accept their insurance, whatever, they're all pissed off, or they're waiting too long and they miss their kid's soccer practice. So in many cases, it's not even about the doctor. Other cases, it's very inaccurate. But to answer your question, yeah, I think you should respond in a professional way, not in a confrontational way. But it's all the more reason that you want to get ahead of this and have a system for reputation management that can be automated, so consistently goes out and does campaigns to, because that won't be the last time that you get some weird review from a disgruntled patient. It's going to happen again. So, if you have 20 bad reviews, but you have 120 good reviews, you're doing okay. Actually, 20 bad reviews, not so wonderful. But I mean, my point is that you want to have a lot more good reviews than bad reviews. Simple stuff.
Absolutely. This is sort of related to this, but not in our industry. My husband is a locksmith here in our town and has, a Google My Business profile and all that fun stuff. It's different because he's a locksmith, not a podiatrist, but he has all 5-star reviews, over 100 of them, which is great for our little small country town, and one-star review. And he crafted the most clever response, but it took him forever because you think so hard about how should I respond to this? What are the ramifications of it? It's a bit, it can weigh heavily on you.
And I do think that's, sometimes I feel like responding to everything is almost like making a mountain out of a molehill. It's like, why bring attention to it by responding? But online, it's there forever. And so I do think when someone can read negative reviews and whether it be a practice or a company, doesn't take the time to show that they're noticing and that they are acknowledging it. So I would say, I do think it's a good idea to respond in some way, and just to show that you're acknowledging, I hear you. I hate saying I'm sorry, because a lot of times, depending on how you say it, it's like you're saying, yes, it was my fault, but depending, every situation is contextual. So as long as you're addressing it and acknowledging that it is regretful that they didn't have a world-class experience, that at least shows that you care about the voice of your patients.
Right. By the way, are you still seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, this is very basic, but like on one of our doctor's websites, where you have his website here and all these wonderful things, but there's a rate us, kind of a tab here, and they can, if they're happy with the care, they can click on this and they could, point here. It goes directly to Google. But it also actually has something here. If they're not happy, they can fill this out, and this would not be posted as a review, but it would come back. And it's good to know. So, I mean, I think it's something that when you reach out to them and try to address something that's wrong to make it right, that's a good thing. So it's just good to have this information. This is a very, very basic thing, but I just wanted to share with you, good stuff. But anyway, but reviews are, one thing about reviews is that it's very personal. It's like, this is your practice, and somebody's saying something about your practice, or worse, about you as a doctor. But again, a lot of reviews are not about the doctor. They're about the young lady at the front desk who was very snappy, or that had waited too long, or the insurance that wasn't accepted, and then their emotions start, flaring, and next thing you know, a terrible review. But regardless of what it is, you just want to stay ahead of this stuff. It's really important.
And that's really important to discuss, like your staffing, and just not, I mean, I'm sure you have great staff members, right? But everyone has a bad day, and sometimes not everyone is trained on how to conduct themselves when they're stressed out. And I mean, I had a doctor's appointment last fall. My physician is amazing. I had a fantastic experience with them, but my very first interaction was with the worst receptionist I've ever experienced. And I almost canceled everything. And so it's just really important to have those talks with your staff and make sure that they are also aware of the reviews and what's, how they're your frontline staff. I mean, it is vital that they are on point.
This is a true story. It just happened like this week. My mom, who's 88, she needs a tooth extracted, tooth number 12, that is. And guess who's got to take her? That would be little old me. And so this is not the first time we've done this. So we went to the same oral surgeon about a year ago, and he did a great job. His office is like not so pretty, but he's probably like in his mid to late 60s, but experienced, did a good job. And but I just went back after that and looking at the reviews on this practice. Terrible. But it's all about the receptionist, all about the creepy girls at the front desk. But none about him. It's all about the front, the horrible front office, and staff there. So it's weird because he's actually a great doctor, but these guys, like you just said, Sarah, they're putting a bad impression out there, and they're costing him something because based on the feedback. I mean, that's the feedback about the practice. Meanwhile, the doctor's doing his job, but they're making things worse for him because they're getting him negative reviews, lots of them. So
the practice isn't all about the treatment.
We do have another question that rolled in. For those practices who already have a website, what makes Podiatry Content Connection different than their present internet marketing companies?
Right. Well, not to be the sales guy here, but why not? But it's funny. This is a bad joke, but if you've ever been to a chiropractor, put it this way: nobody has a perfect spine, right? If you go to a chiropractor, they're going to find subluxations. There's something wrong. I need to see you. So my corny joke is that nobody has a perfect website or web presence. In my 10 years of doing this, I can name on one hand when I saw a podiatrist website, I said, you know what, you are buttoned up, you are good to go. I mean, less than one hand in my 10 years of doing this. It's all relative. For the folks that have a really good website and are doing a lot of things online, those are the ones that want to, I guess the book is called The Slight Edge. They want that slight edge. They want to beat out the other guy in town that's just as aggressive as they are. So, without looking at it, I wouldn't know. But I can tell you that if I want to toot my own horn, to say that we're the number one comprehensive digital agency, bold statement there, to say our customers make more money than other podiatrists, pretty bold statement. To say that our customers dominate in their areas, those are three bold statements, but I stand by them. And one of the things is that, our company is growing. We have almost 50 people now. We started out with 3, we have almost 50. We're podiatry only. We are laser focused on customer support, technology, leading edge stuff, not on sales. I mean, we got to have sales to run a business, but because our service works, our customers are staying with us year after year. We keep enhancing. So, for example, we do blogs on a weekly basis. Most companies don't do that, and they don't do them the way that we do them. So, not to be the sales guy here, but we do these blogs every single week, and each blog has an article attached to it. We do these things called spot campaigns. Nobody else does that. Nobody. I'm not going to start rattling off company names, but nobody in the business does what we do when it comes to content. And when I see podiatrists that do their own blogs, for example, I tell them, I don't want to be obnoxious. I say, I've seen this movie before and it doesn't end well. I'm just saying, because it's just a matter of time before they can't do it. And if they have a busy practice, what are they doing writing blogs? I just don't get that. But to answer your question, there's things that we do. And in most cases, we want to recreate a website built on our chassis with our technology and our integrations all built in. So do we have the ability to plug into somebody's WordPress or Joomla website? We do. Does it slow things down a little bit for us? It does, but we can do it. But some of our good customers wanted to test us out for us just by using parts of our system in their, I'll call it their website, and we got on board that way. And eventually they switched over and said that it would do whatever works for you guys. So,
And I did want to mention, I obviously, yes, we're talking about, wiping your hands clean and delegating these tasks, especially things like blogs. I will say, I think it is important still that the practice is involved in terms, so it's, their voice and whatnot, but to a point where the example I'm bringing up is there are a lot of things that need to be discussed on a blog and to keep constant, engaging, dynamic content. However, there are some days where you might have a case that is just special, where maybe it's maybe you have a child in the practice, and depending on what their condition is, it's just a unique case that maybe, whether it is just interesting and how horrible the condition was, that you might have had like the most insane mosaic wart that you've ever seen, or an insane Charcot foot, something like that. So either an extreme case, I thought there was like a ghost behind you. I'm scared.
it was Ghost?
Yeah. Or just a story.
You didn't think it was Iron Man coming in?
Yeah. But, or, a story that maybe pulls at the heartstrings.
Wow.
So if there are cases like that, I will say I would recommend that pick up the phone, just make a note of it, pick up the phone, call your account executive at Podiatry Content Connection, and just quickly tell them the story. Because I think those are ways to write your own blogs without having to write your own blogs. You still have to communicate with your team members at PCC.
Account manager. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So, I think there's sometimes a disconnect there where it's like, oh, well, we don't have to be involved at all. Well, not to the point where it's going to take hours upon hours, because writing these things the way they're supposed to be written and getting them published takes time. But being able to pick up the phone, call your account executive, and narrate the story, tell them the story, and then let them tell everyone else.
Right.
Yeah. And again, like we talked about earlier, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So Podiatry Content Connection and other marketing companies, they may offer lots of different services. In fact, I know PCC offers everything to suit your needs, but that might be scary. So why don't we just start with something small, reputation management, if that is your number one concern right now, because that can be very daunting, managing your Google profile, making sure that all of that is accurate. Then maybe you want to take the leap into generating content and email marketing. And, you don't have to do it all right now. Just get started.
It's all relative. I mean, funny, today and then yesterday as well, I just somehow got scheduled to meet with two different podiatrists. One was, he's actually in his mid-50s. And for whatever reason, long story short, he has no website, no reviews, no nothing, He's got a very small practice and not doing that great, and very nice guy, personable, looks good, but he's completely invisible online, kind of felt bad for the guy, and then yesterday I had a meeting with not that old, he's 67 years old. He does home care visits, similar thing, very small podiatry practice. He even told me his revenue, it's very small, no, of course, same thing, no website, no nothing. And, but he says, yeah, I could use more patients. I want more new patients. Like I said, that question to the desire and the capacity, he's got both. He's like, I never did this stuff. And so, I'm trying to help these guys, am I going to break the bank with them? No, I'm just trying to get them off of a bicycle and onto a vehicle like a car. They get, they get onto this highway, so to speak. And so when we do these like web strategy sessions, this doesn't have to be a sales pitch. It's like, it can be just a brainstorming session. And for some people, nothing's for everyone. And we're not desperate for business, by the way. So if somebody's good to go and they're working with a company that they really like, wonderful. They should probably stay there. If they have an appetite to do more, or if the customer service has been, not so great, or maybe the company merged with another bigger company and now their rates are going through the roof and the service is out the window, maybe we could chat. But I mean, if you're really happy and life is grand, then wonderful, But I find it when I'm at the conferences, I don't mean to judge people, but I can tell the successful ones walking by the way that they're dressed and by their posture and their mannerisms before they even say a word. Those are the folks, though. I want to meet with those people, of course, but the guys I just mentioned before, I want to help them as well. And we've had great success over these 10 years, helping not just the internet studs, so to speak, but also the puppy dogs that need help. They don't know where to go. And so we do both.
It's a lot easier to walk tall when you're not stressed out, right? About money or
This is
business.
true.
And yeah,
This
because
is
a lot
true.
of times these, it's not even that you aren't great at what you do, but it's just not potentially being managed in the right way. And so it makes it stressful. And when people are stressed out, they don't really have a nice leisurely air about them.
That's
Well
true.
put. Very
If
well.
you've ever seen me at a show, I'm generally stressed out, so I may not have a nice
Very good at
leisurely
faking
air
it.
about me.
You look good.
Make it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. That's right. All right.
Well-
Any closing thoughts from you guys? Don't forget, you guys text that number to win $100 from Randy. And Sarah and I are giving away $50, so I'll send out an email this week with the winner for that. Elaine, is there anything that we need to know from the sales side?
No. I'm here for support and any other questions that come our way.
Sounds
Awesome.
good. Well, if anybody's attending the Midwest Podiatry Conference this week, we're heading there tomorrow. We're booth, I think it's 1025.
1025.
Right, 1025, and we always have our prize wheel and giveaway stuff. Love to see you. So if you're going to be there, drop by, say hello. Ann and Sarah, thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it. And let's talk again soon.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Thanks for spending your time with us, and we hope to see you next time.
Well, and on that note, don't go yet. Next Tuesday, the 14th, we are here next Tuesday on the 14th with Dr. Doug Ritchie. We are talking about flatfoot. So keep your eyes peeled for announcements about that. My hair keeps disappearing.
Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you next Tuesday, everyone. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye.